the formula that I've used for leadership, and the one that I think works for me, and I'm going to show you how it works. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to have an open discussion. I'm going to talk to you about a leadership formula. We're going to show you some unsuccessful leadership types, excuse me. See, I haven't had enough coffee. I've only had one. I told you I'm a 4 o'clock in person. Talk about team building. We'll do a little recap, and then we'll open up to Q&A. You laugh. It's true.
She used to be quiet.
I doubt that very much.
No, she was, I promise.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were a bad influence.
No, she was a very good influence. Thank you very much.
She used to be quiet.
Heckled on Sunday morning. It's the first time this has ever happened to me.
Oh, right.
So this is the agenda for this morning. We'll take, I'll try not to keep you here too long. It's Sunday. You should be able to enjoy your Sunday. Plus I have to get home. Here's my belief. Leadership is not how you stand, but where you stand. And when I say where you stand, I'm not talking about where you stand on a matter. I'm talking about where you stand as a leader with respect to your team. And I think that's very important, because leaders are not here. Leaders should never be here. Leaders should never be put on a pedestal that the title makes them who they are. I wrote that last night, that a title does not make a leader. And I often ask people, would you do this role without the title? And many of them would, some of them won't. But if the title's what's driving, you're doing it for the wrong reason. Anyone ever?
Have you read the book? You don't need a title to be a leader?
No, but I've read the book, The Leader Without a Title by Robert Shaw.
No, there's a book that's literally called You Don't Need a Title to Be a Leader.
Would you send that to me?
I will send it to you.
There's also a great book out there called Lead Yourself First. If you haven't read it, I recommend you do. It's about how you have to separate yourself from the noise in order to be able to make the right decisions. So again, it's not how you stand. I'm a leader, follow me. It's where you stand. And with perspective to your team. Let's talk about leadership a little while. We've got a room full of leaders here. Whether you have titles or not, we've got a room full of leaders here. And I'd like to get your input on a few things. So what do you think a leader should be? Just shout it out there. What do you think a leader should be?
Servant.
Servant.
Communicator.
Communicator.
Empowerer.
Empowerer. That's tough this morning. Yeah,
Somebody who will get down in the trenches with their team.
somebody will get down in the trenches.
A unifier.
A fewer of opportunities.
Ooh, very nice. Deep thoughts this morning. Very nice.
Yeah,
I need more coffee. I'm not processing some of these things. Anyone else?
Leaders lead.
Leaders lead. That's true. Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about that a bit. Kathy?
A leader should put the group in front of their own, needs sometimes.
We're going to talk about that a little bit too.
If the leader cares, the others will care.
If the leader cares, the others will care. How did the others know the leader cares?
The leader shares it.
Ah, the leader shares it, but does the leader share it and show it?
Yeah, that's the key.
Right? You could share anything,
Right.
but if you don't show it, we were just talking about this morning. Sharon and I were talking about trust. And trust is a two-way street. Trust is not a one-way street. It's a two-way street. And if you trust people and they don't trust you, it doesn't work out.
I don't know if you said it before I got here, but the leader should be a follower.
Leaders should be a follower, first and foremost. See, you're giving all the principles that I'm going to talk about.
A leader has integrity.
A leader has integrity. Yeah. How many leaders have given up integrity?
Respect. Integrity, respect, service, and excellence.
But did you know, so, and I'm going to go in the back in a minute. Did you notice that we've had those core values for so many years, and we only recently defined what they mean? We only recently defined it.
Reverse mentorship. I learned about that at work. No matter what your title
described it as, I should be, as leader, I should be the wind beneath the wings of all people
The wind beneath the wings of people. All right, so we talked about what a leader should be. But what should a leader not be? Authoritative.
Unless there's a fire, right? And then you have to get the people out the building. I don't care about your feelings, we're getting you out the building. Right? That's one of the few, examples.
Right. So authoritative, without over-exercising their authority.
Right.
Authoritative.
The word that is remarked in.
Oh,
I'm
manipulative.
There you go.
The
You
word-
shouldn't manipulate people into doing things.
You're right. I absolutely agree with you.
The word I was gonna say is a martinet. M-A-R-T-I-N-E-T.
Marionette.
No, a martinet.
Oh.
A martinet is a person who is,
Little louder, Stu.
a martinet, M-A-R-T-I-N-E-T. is
The word of the day,
Yeah.
Martinet.
What's the meaning of it?
someone who is overbearing in leadership.
All right.
Okay. New word. I use it once, use it often.
Should never be without compassion and empathy.
Compassion and empathy. That's an interesting thing to say because some people's level of compassion and empathy are totally different than others. And I will tell you, I was not an empathetic leader for a long time. Took me a long time to get to that. It took me a long time to let people say their mind. I'm the type of person who, if I ask you a question, I don't need a long preamble to get to it. And I would often show that. Especially in board meetings. But it took me a long time to be able to say, hey, listen, they have to talk. So eventually they'll get to the answer you hold. So let them talk. Anything else that a leader should not be?
Like very narrow-minded and inflexible, like you just, this is the path and we're doing it and we're not moving.
Narrow-minded and inflexible. That's right. Because they see it one way and aren't willing to see it another. Kathy.
Someone who avoids taking accountability.
Accountability. Ooh, the Teflon leader. Nothing sticks to me. Oh, you did it.
Lacks fundamental understanding of the work that folks under them do. I think an effective leader has to understand the work that needs to be done and understand how it gets done so that they can best support and provide insight and guidance. And if they've never done the role or they don't understand the work that needs to get done, I find sometimes leaders in that capacity will give those crazy orders like jump off the cliff, not understanding that there's nothing below them, or because they've never done the work and understand that you have to go this certain path. So I
Right.
think that's really
And
important.
that's some of the challenges with skipping positions. Right?
Exactly.
They go right from area director to district director.
Yep.
There's nothing in between.
Yep.
Jake, you had Jake?
Indecisive?
Indecisive. Indecisive. There's a lot of reason for a leader to be indecisive. A lot of times it's because they're unsure of themselves. Right? They've been put in a position, they don't know how to address it, and then they don't ask people for help.
That's it. That's the
They
thing.
don't ask people for help.
Ooh.
Because you can be someone that doesn't know everything because you're not supposed to. Like you said, leaders are not here.
As a team.
So you have to get the buy-in, you have to utilize the team to let them know and be vulnerable. Hey, I don't know, tell me what you think we should do with this.
But here's the fear that all leaders have, is that they're afraid to show what they appear as weakness. Okay? I was elected to a position, or I was appointed to a position, I should know everything. But a real leader knows their level of vulnerability, knows what their level of knowledge is,
Yeah.
and knows when to ask for help when they need it. So I'm gonna go here, here, and there.
Uninformed, so let me define that after what Stephanie said. If you don't know what the expectations of your people are, and they don't know your expectations, you're in a bad place. You
Yep.
have to know what your people are.
And we just talked about that this morning, Ed? Needing to know what the expectations are.
Leaders should not be uncomplimentary. You give credit where credit is due.
That's what credit's due.
I have a question for you. What is weakness? Like you're using that word, but I'm not sure I understand what that means.
So, for an individual's weakness can mean anything, right? Asking a question, vulnerability can be a weakness.
Asking a question.
asking that question for some people over the weekend. Have you ever been in a room where they said, anyone got any questions? Everyone does this. Because they don't want to ask a question, because they don't want to hear that they are unknowledgeable, that they have that vulnerability, that weakness. Jing.
I missed one item on the should be's.
Okay. Oh, so now we want to go back to should be.
Well, I try not to make it negative of a negative, but they should be a good listener. So
Good listener.
a leader should not be not a good listener.
Right.
Because that's how
So
you
define
get
good.
input.
Define good.
So when somebody asks a question, give feedback so that you are understanding what are you asking me? Or if somebody is bringing something up, they're saying, okay, let me understand what you're trying to say to me so they're all on the same page. And then that's how you find out if there's trouble or there's good so that you can adjust accordingly.
You ever notice a leader start answering the question before you finished it?
Oh, should not answer questions before they are
I hear you, Jane.
I don't think a leader should be intimidated to have people who are more knowledgeable than he is, because no one knows everything. For example, in my husband and I, he is the finance person. I would be trying to calculate something on a calculator, and I just mention it to him, and he can give me a number right there. So as a leader, you need to have people who can help support you all, fill in, be strong where you're weak.
Leader needs to surround himself with the right person. So what she's saying is, from the finance standpoint, as long as you're checking the checkbook, there's obviously money in the account, right?
Yeah, so what you're trying to say, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room.
There you go. Yeah, I don't need everybody in the room to be like me and have the same knowledge I have.
No, it's not a good compliment.
It's not a good compliment. And the other thing is, I don't need bobblehead leaders.
Right.
You know, the ones that are always doing this, yeah. If you're gonna agree with me all the time, go somewhere else. I wanna be challenged.
Yes.
I wanna grow. Okay. What do you think a leader should do?
Set the example.
Set an example.
They're the visionary.
Be the
They cast the
visionary.
vision, but they also have to cast the vision and get feedback on that vision in case it needs to be adjusted.
So what if a leader has a vision but no one agrees with it?
And you have to find out why no one agrees with it. Is the vision trash, or the people just need to be raised up in their expectations?
Where's the vision not well defined? Might be a great vision, but you have to explain why. One of the biggest issues that I see in leadership is leaders attempt to do things, change without explaining why the change is happening. You might explain the how. This is how we're doing, but nobody explains why we're doing. When people don't know why, they don't really want to go that way.
Establish trust.
Establish trust.
And you have to know what's important to them also.
How do you know what's important to somebody's life?
You have to have conversations with them, you have to know people, relationships,
Isn't it interesting, we're a communication company
all the time,
all the time,
all the time.
but conversations aren't always what we expect.
Not always, but then you learn from that.
That's right.
It's the whole butterfly
As long as you're
effect.
willing to.
Growing.
Resolving and changing,
Yes,
transition, right?
absolutely.
So you have to be willing to have those conversations. These are things, as a leader, you need to be willing to do. Don't expect everybody's gonna do things for you. You all went out and got your own breakfast this week. Nobody served it. Leadership is the same way. Go out and get it. No one's serving it. What do you think a leader should not do?
Not publicly criticize others.
Not open, criticize others. Yeah.
Not take the glory for everything. Give acknowledgement to your team.
Kathy,
Be convinced that they're right.
you can set that right. That, to give credit where credit's due, this was a pet peeve of mine, and I'm going to share it now. And it might upset some people, and guess what? I don't care.
I don't care.
I really don't, because it's my pet peeve, it doesn't have to be anybody else's. I have oftentimes heard a district your district director, specifically your district governor back in the day, say, I'm a distinguished district director. I am the president's distinguished district director. Guess what? You are not. You are not. You are the district director of a president's distinguished district. They got you there.
Yeah.
You did.
Usually the club growth director.
Yeah, that's right. You did the club growth director. But they're the ones who say, I'm the president's distinguished district director. No, you are not. Start giving credit to the people who got it there, not you. Anything else that a leader should not do? Or should not be?
Making assumptions.
Are you going to use another $50 word?
No,
Okay.
making assumptions when someone's asking a question.
Making assumptions when someone's asking a question. Would you like to elaborate a little bit?
If you do it, this falls in line with what somebody said a minute ago about when someone asks a question and the answer is just kind of parroted back, but not much thought is given to understanding what that actual question was.
Yeah.
You need to ask questions about the question to clarify a point instead of assuming that whatever that was is the point.
Notice what the word he used, parroted back. Didn't we talk about parroted people yesterday? Not good to be with, right? Very good steward.
Pass the buck, which is different than delegating. Taking responsibility as a leader. All right, the team didn't work out, plan didn't work out. What could I have done to help the team enhance the plan? Whereas delegating, as was mentioned earlier, utilizing people that can support you in that role and in that mission.
So the key word there, utilize, not using.
Yes.
Utilize people, don't use people.
Not gossip about their team. If they
Not
have an
gossip.
issue, if they have an issue with something, go to that person, not to everybody else on the team.
What did we hear on that leadership panel yesterday, for those who were there? We come into the room as one, right? Don't gossip
Yeah,
about
what?
it.
So to piggyback on that, a leader should not delegate responsibility without delegating authority.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
We're
what
gonna talk about that a little. Jean, you had your hand up?
Yes, if you're in charge of a budget, you can't be fiscally irresponsible.
There you go.
And yours?
Avoid the hard conversations. Sometimes things aren't going the way you want them to go or they need to go. And leaders will sometimes avoid that tough conversation or admit, hey, things aren't going right, when you just need to pull everybody together and reset expectations and redo the timelines.
Yeah, you need to be willing to have those hard conversations, but you also need to be the reason sometimes for those hard conversations.
Yeah.
Be willing to accept that you're a part of that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've talked about things they should do, shouldn't do, could be, shouldn't be. Anyone experienced any of the things we talked about today?
Nope, never should. Everything goes perfect in my
Someone
world.
just said a bingo. Just had a bingo.
Bingo.
Hit every one of them.
Black card.
Someone got blackout.
Cover all. Cover all.
There's a reason, in my opinion, some underlying reasons why we see this. And one is because leaders never receive feedback. They generally don't. There's no feedback, there's no evaluation channel here for leaders in the past. And I hope we get to that point at some point. Because as a leader, you should be receiving feedback about how you're doing. Because as I said the other day, you're always going to be as good as you thought you were until somebody tells you you weren't. And then I was having a conversation this morning, all of a sudden something dawned on me about a gap that we have that I wanted to see how we can address it in the future. Everyone has moments of truth at the club, right? Everyone does moments of truth at the club?
Yes.
If you don't, still put your hand up. Just let me see.
Okay. Okay, we actually do.
Why don't we do moments of truth at a district level?
Nice.
Like you go to district training, sometimes you do moments of truth.
I think you do, but I don't
That's a
think we
district
call it.
training.
I think you do, but I don't think we call it moments of truth.
Yeah, wouldn't a formalized?
It's a start, stop, continue conversation.
Start, stop, continue. How's that work out?
What's going well? Keep doing it. What's not going well? Stop doing that. What are we doing that we need to be doing or we haven't been doing that makes sense? Start. Start, stop, continue.
And anyone ever see somebody that should be stopping and continuing that status quo approach?
Every year.
Every year. Every year. So we need to start introducing some new ideas to how we can develop stronger leaders in our districts. And we need to get feedback from others. We elect division directors, they go through an interview process, they submit form after form after form after form after form. Supposedly that division director was an area director at some point before that, but we never talked to the clubs to say, hey, was this area director effective? Were they ever, did they actually show up at the area visits?
Yes.
So we look at things from a surface level, but we don't really know. The zombie leader principle is often utilized, where we put a mirror under someone's nose, it steams up, and they are a leader because we don't want a gap. Stephanie, you know this, we've seen it.
Yeah, I know.
And it's a shame.
But you know, part of it, Richard, is that the development of leaders has to begin at so my insanity as a Toastmaster began not when I was in the district governor position. My insanity began when I was an area director, going to every single contest, meeting people, talking to people, finding out, like Melissa would say, the shiny people. You find the shiny people, you develop those relationships, and when I came to have to put my team together, everybody that was on my team was waiting to be on my team.
There you go.
Because you develop those relationships. It's about more than titles, I can't stand that. But you want people to want to do what they're doing.
Yes.
And you have to protect that also, to make sure that they can do what they do, and you keep the noise off your team.
So you can't be a siloed leader.
You
can't be a leader in a silo, it just doesn't work out. All right, so we talked a little bit about what we see of leaders, what we think they should do, what they shouldn't do.
So,
I know you know what almost all of those
I have
things.
no clue.
Okay,
I'm not
good.
that person. I do. She would. You do.
Well, I do. There's a lot of formulas in life. You see formulas everywhere. But there's no real formula that I see for leadership. Because every aspect of leadership changes depending on the situation you're in. And you have to be able to adapt to it. That's why there's thousands of books out there on leadership. Because they all talk about one specific thing in leadership. What they don't talk about is what the basics of leadership are. And I like to, listen, I'm a simple person, I really am. Life is complicated enough. I don't need to make my life more complicated. If I can find ways to make things simpler, with the same effect, that's what I'm gonna do. Because one, I can remember the simple things. If I start complicating it, I start forgetting it. Or I forget a step along the way. So over the years, I've found this approach that works for me. And that every time it's failed, not that we fail, we talked about we've never failed, but every time I had a learning opportunity, I could pinpoint why it didn't work. And again, this is very, very simple. First thing a leader needs to do is they need to stand before their team. Talk about this. They have to be the visionary. They have to be the person who leads the way, draws the path. You have to be the person that people are willing to follow. The other reason that you need to be willing to stand before your team is you need to be willing to take the slings and arrows that come with it. not your team's fault. Not your team's fault. You're there to protect your team at all costs. You are the leader.
Yeah. You need to be quick to take the blame and slow to receive the accolades.
Absolutely.
Push the accolades back on
So
them.
you need to be willing to stand before them. If you're not willing to stand before them, get out of their way, because you're stopping it. So be the person who stands before them, provides the vision, provides the path, clears the roadblocks. You know, as a leader, your job is to clear roadblocks. You know, if you let those roadblocks stay there, your team isn't going to move. I look at leadership from two actions: lead and ship. You lead people from one direction to another, and you ship them by moving them from their original destination to where you ultimately want to be. The is there for the grammarian. That's all it's there for. So if you think about leadership from two perspectives, lead and to ship, to go in one direction and to move people, it will work out much better for you. But stand before them. Be the person who is willing to represent them, but not take the spotlight off of them. Next thing is you have to be willing to stand behind your team. You need to be the one who's got their back. Hey, anyone ever heard that? I've got your back, I never for you. Anyone ever play a trust exercise?
Yeah.
Here, fall back into my arms, I've got your back. The first time. Comes Charlie Brown and Lucy after that. Right? You may or may not be there when they fall back first. Well, what happens the first time they fall back into your arms? They trust you, right? Develop that trust. The more times they fall back into your arms, the more times they trust you. That's what happens the first time they fall back when you're not there.
It's gonna be hard to
It's going to be hard to get that trust. Right? And when you lose the trust of your team, you might as well go off on the island by yourself.
Yes.
You're on an island of misfit toys because they're not going to trust you. Trust is the hardest thing to earn and the easiest thing to lose.
You gotta earn it.
But you also have to be behind the team because you have to be willing to push them. Sometimes they don't think they can go down the path that they want to go on. Some things you don't think they have the skills necessary to do what you know they do. So you need to be able to give that little bit of a nudge.
You can do it.
You can do it!
And sometimes they don't trust you, not because you.
Me? Why don't they trust me?
Not because you let them down, but because the one before you let them down. And so you're getting the blame for something you didn't
So
do.
the trickle-down effect on trust.
That ripple effect.
Ripple effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. The leader before you said they were going to do this and they never did. What makes me think you're going to do it?
Right?
Well, I was gonna say, what if they don't trust themselves? Because if they don't trust themselves, who are they gonna trust?
And why don't they trust themselves? That's what you have to get into. Those are the questions you have to figure out. Why don't
You
they
gotta be a
trust
therapist
themselves?
as well.
Yeah.
Well, they doesn't have to be a therapist. But I mean, maybe they don't trust themselves because they feel that they failed at
Maybe
something.
they feel inadequate,
Right?
or they haven't had good leadership before, so
They
they're
haven't
not
had
sure.
good leadership before them. They were told to do something, but they were never allowed to do it. The leader before them always gave them the blame, never gave them the praise. They start trusting, not trusting themselves. Right? You know, no matter, anyone ever work for somebody or have a leader that no matter what you did,
Yep.
there's a leader, there's a question before you present it.
What's that about assumption?
What you did,
You just set yourself up.
no matter what you did, there was always fault with it.
Yep.
Right? There was always fault with
Always.
it.
Yep.
No matter what you did, and then you stop trusting yourself. Right?
Yep.
I know it was right, but they didn't believe it. And then you stop trusting yourself.
The team member or individual who lacks that inner confidence or ability to believe in themselves because they have not been tested.
Right.
As a leader, we gotta develop them, help them build the evidence that in fact they can do something. And then along the way, they'll find their own means of developing that inner fire, passion, conviction, whatever it is they need to motivate themselves. I've seen, I'm not gonna get into like, oh, back to my day, but I know how important it is to have your team trained and ready to go.
Yeah, it's interesting. The approach that you use on feedback is very important. If somebody produces something, gives you something, and maybe it's not 100% what you want, you should never approach it by going, well, this is what you should have done. Well, if that's what I should have done, then you should have done it for me. But the approach that I like to use is really well done. Did you think about possibly looking at it from this perspective? Because now you've respected their decisions, but also given them an alternative way of looking at it. Never, and indirectly saying, listen, you can do a little bit better, but without saying, hey, this really isn't what I want.
Just use the formula for evaluating a speech.
I would say that's a great thing to do, but I've been to multiple clubs, and that evaluation is not the same across the board. Not the same across the board.
Whoops.
But Jane, to your point,
It's true.
leadership is not about whitewash evaluations.
Yeah.
Leadership is not about whitewash.
You're not gonna grow that way.
No. You're always as good as you ever were. So you need to stand before your team, and you need to stand behind them. You need to trust you when you're behind them. When you're behind them, don't put the knife in the back. Do not put the knife in the back. You need to stand beside your team. Heard that already. You need to be willing to get in the trenches. You need to be willing to do what you tell them to do. They need to see that you're willing to do the same things you ask them to do. I've been to conferences, I've just been dressed in a suit just like that was the other day, and I've helped district leaders move boxes. Move boxes. You know, you shouldn't be doing that. Why not?
Yeah, right.
Why
As
not?
long as I'm able to.
But you're the president. Okay, so what? You need to be willing to do the same things that you're asking them to do. And if you're not, don't ask them to do it. Don't ask them to do it. You need to develop the skills that you're asking them to develop. You're going to stand beside your team, work shoulder to shoulder with them. Anyone ever been on a team where the leader was over here, never working shoulder to shoulder with them? Always just telling them what to do and then go, do.
There's a counter example of that. Herb Kellenborg, he was CEO of Southwest Airlines, and every now and then he would come in and he would fly on the planes, he would greet all the customers, he would serve drinks, he would go down to the baggage handling, and he would throw bags with the guys. And he did all those jobs that they did so that they saw him working side by side. He said, this is a team, and you know, they do stock share and stuff like that, so it made them feel part of the team, that the leader was doing that.
Where there's some gap in this is when we talked about skipping leadership roles. Right? If you skip the leadership role, you may not know what goes on in that role, so it may be a little bit difficult standing beside them. But that doesn't mean you can't learn it. It doesn't mean you can't understand it. So you need to really think about where you are. And that's why I said it's not how you stand. It's where you stand with regards to standing in front of them, before them, behind them, beside them. Notice though that if you stand in those four positions, what happens? You've surrounded your team. And no matter which direction they move, you're there for them. As a leader. They're never alone. And that's the principle behind it, is standing around your team at all times, so that they know whichever direction they're going, you're there for them. But there's two other key components there. One, they have to believe in you. If your team doesn't believe in you, they don't believe your vision, they don't believe they can trust you, they don't believe that you are a leader for what you're trying to do, they are never going to follow you. Never. They won't disrespect you, generally, but you will never get to where you want to go, and they will never believe in you as that leader. And when you lose their trust, that is way out the window. So you need to make sure that when you're sharing your vision, you're explaining it properly, you're explaining the whys. They have to believe you. There's nothing wrong with asking that question. Do you believe in what we're doing? Everyone's gonna raise their hand and say yes. That won't be the right answer. You have to empower people to be willing to be honest in their answers. And that's when trust is built. That's when they believe that they can do that.
So would you change the question then?
I would.
Instead of saying, does everybody believe in the vision? What part of the vision do you believe in? What part do you think needs to be changed? And then they could probably be more honest.
And I could change it even farther and say, what would you like to see added to this vision?
Okay.
Right? Because now they're part of it.
Yeah.
And when they're part of it, they believe it. Right? So I would change the way the question's asked. I always believe in getting people to engage in it. And we talked about that the other day when we talked about change. It's either forced on us or we are part of it. Right? And when we're part of change, it's much easier to accept.
So call it a draft vision, and here's our working model. Set it up that
It
way.
should, visions will change over time. It can't be necessarily instant, because situations will change. Our vision in January of 2020 was quite different than our vision in March of 2020.
Absolutely, yes.
Right?
Maybe what 2 months did.
That's right, it's amazing what you do. So you have to be willing to evolve your vision over time, but you have to be willing to let people be part of your vision. Doesn't mean you have to give up on your vision. But if you want people to believe in it, if you want people to engage in it, they have to feel part of it. Every district director has a vision for a district. Stephanie mentioned the nasty approach the other day about how we told districts they weren't allowed to have visions anymore. They weren't allowed to have themes anymore. I didn't like that either, because that was the year I was supposed to have a theme too. I don't remember what it was, because I don't think I fully had developed it before we made the change. But the reason we made the change, for those of you who don't know, is we had themes, and they were, many of them were really great themes, but they were displayed in ways that had no purpose, right? A theme on the side of a dump truck. But that doesn't promote Toastmasters any way, shape, or form. Great theme.
It does in a way.
Hey, now be careful.
If your communication style's garbage, join Toastmasters. I see your vision. I can see the vision.
That's good, we're all Toastmasters. The general public may not see it. But we had to have a shared vision. With the organization, we had to have a shared vision.
And a shared look and feel, so it's about.
It did take some of the personalization away from it, but so we don't have district teams anymore, but we still have conference.
Well, there's still districts out there.
No, they don't. Districts do not have district teams.
Sure.
There you go. Districts do not have any themes.
We believe you.
It is
Part of your life right there.
Good
Good job. Good job.
So your team needs to believe in it. But they also have to have some buy-in. They also have to be willing to do the work. They also have to be willing to put themselves into the roles that they're in. Area directors need to believe that they can be honest with you, and when they're honest with you, they will buy into what they have to do in their role. They'll give a good area director's report. They'll give honest. They'll be willing to do what you ask them to do. But if they don't believe in you, they don't believe you have their back, they don't see your vision, they're not going to buy in. And a team that doesn't buy into what's supposed to be done will never get to where they need to get to. Can't have a team of 5 with everybody going in 5 different directions. Can't do that. It just doesn't work. Everyone has to be going rowing in the same direction, right? So people on one side of the boat rowing forward and the other side of the boat rowing backwards.
And you go
in
in
a
the
circle all day long.
That way.
See, not everybody rowing together. This group's awake up there this morning.
They never went to bed.
Well, I believe that.
I'm still dancing in my head.
Alright, so we've got before, beside, behind the lead.
And diagrams, yeah.
I knew we'd get this one.
Told her she was the one.
As all those circles converge, and the reason I put them in a circle is as they converge, that area in the center of overlap shows your level of success you have the opportunity to achieve. The greater that overlap is, the greater level of success you potentially have. Because if everything lines up, if you're standing before your team, behind your team, beside your team, and they believe and they buy it, you should never have an issue with that. Your success should be unlimited. But the minute one of those circles falls out, all bets are off. All bets are off. So you can see that the less they believe in you, the less they're willing to stand and see you as behind them, that area gets much smaller. Much smaller. It decreases your level of success. So in 2015, I ran for second vice president. I wasn't as successful as I wanted to. Many of you were there, some of you were there and saw it. You want to know where I failed? In that diagram? One, they didn't believe me. They didn't believe that I was the leader at the time. Because I wasn't displaying what they saw as a leader. I was displaying what I saw as a leader. So they didn't believe in me. Because they didn't believe in me, they didn't think I'd stand before them as leader of our organization. Two of those circles, completely out of the picture. Did it really matter if I was going to be beside them at that point? No. Did it really matter if I would be behind them at that point? No. They didn't see me here, they didn't believe me here. That level, that area in the middle was almost non-existent. And I didn't get away. And I rightfully shouldn't have, because I learned a lot about myself as a leader. Following year, when I came back, all those circles lined up. Yes, ma'am.
How did you learn about yourself as a leader after that experience?
So,
I mean, obviously reflection, you said you
reflection, yeah. Reflection is key. And I'll tell you, that was probably one of the angriest times in my life when those results came in. And I left that room and I had people with me because they knew I was mad. And it was mad because I didn't understand. And self-reflection was what happened there. And I may have mentioned this, I think I did. It was because my own perception. My own perception was there was no reason I should have lost this election. Because I had never lost any election before. Right? I never lost any election before. And in my district positions, when it was IB, never lost. Until I realized it was because I had never won. See, I had never won. And what I mean by that is, unless you're running against somebody, unless there's somebody pushing you to be the next best level of yourself, you're always going to think you're as good as you always were. And in 2 or 3 year periods of time between leadership roles, the world changes. Things change. As an international director, you're not a division director anymore. You're not an area director. If you think you still got area director skills to take to the board, step aside. Melissa, right? Russell, right? It's a different world when you get there. So you have to continuously develop those skills. And I think that's important for leaders, is to sit back and reflect and really be honest with themselves. Did I do the best I could? Was this what I intended? Why didn't we get there? I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. I was district director, 2011, 2012, district government. Everyone talks about where they rank in the world. Like it's important. It is to them. Where do you think, now I went on to become the international president of our organization. Where do you think I ranked as district director in the world? So we probably had 120 districts in the world. Where do you think I ranked? Go ahead, throw out a number. Dead last. Dead last. Do you think I led my district properly? Absolutely not. Do you think I knew these principles back then? Absolutely not. Are there other situations involved that help things fall apart? Absolutely. But I'm the leader. I don't blame others for what happened. I should have addressed what happened. Just because you have an unsuccessful time as a leader once does not mean you're always going to be unsuccessful as a leader. As long as you're willing to grow and learn. So, yeah, so I went from here, well, to farther down here as president, but it was a learning journey. And I think as leaders, that's important that we learn. We need to constantly learn. We need to talk to other leaders. We need to talk to the past leaders. Learn what they did. And really get upset when current leaders are not involving past leaders. And I don't mean involve them to the fact of you're asking them for every little bit of advice and you're putting everything on their shoulders. I'm not asking you to do that. But as I told Sharon and a couple others this morning, we bought the ticket, we took the ride. We do have a little bit of knowledge to share with you. No matter what the time is. It might have been 10 years ago. Times change, philosophies change, beliefs change. Some leadership principles still say the same. And if you don't think that would have applied 20 years ago, you're wrong, that would have. And it will apply tomorrow and a year from now. Use your resources. Do not try to go this journey alone. So let's talk, I already covered this. This is where the Venn diagram, thank you for bringing that up this morning. We're talking about Venn this morning. Yes, ma'am.
I have trouble with the word buy-in. This is a leadership story. In a past life, when I was working in retail management, we had a leader that I did not care for. She was a boss. It was one of these, you'll do what I say. And she always talked about getting people's buy-in. And when I hear the word, I get physically ill. So that lets me know I'm rejecting that because I'm thinking back to
Your
health.
experience.
So the word that I'd rather use is skin in the game, or the phrase, because buy-in to me from a 30,000 foot level means I have to convince my team why they should do what I want them to do. Versus skin in the game is letting them see how they contribute to the store, the organization, whatever. This was in a retail setting. So getting them to see how they contribute to the well-being of the store, that's, now they have skin in the game. Like, okay, I want to put forth effort. So buy-in, I'm just challenging it from my own personal experience.
You're poking up all my bees though.
Yeah. I know.
Poking up all my bees.
So then I went body in the game.
I like my skin where it is. I don't want to put it in anything.
But I just wanted to share that because as soon as it went on the screen, I was like,
But see,
and
We'll
see
have
the
to do a
principle,
yelling prayer after.
Yeah.
the principle remains the same. Right?
Yes.
No matter what you call it,
yeah,
the principle remains the same, and that's what's important.
correct.
And the alliteration is important too.
Yeah, you can change it to be whatever you want, as long as the principle is the same. So,
But it was just talking about that leader that she used that word, and
But-
now I hear it and I'm like,
But that wasn't a leader. Because that's not what you said, right?
Yes, right.
What did you
The
say?
boss.
What you say? She's the boss.
That's what leaders should not be.
Yeah,
You put a boss, you said she's the boss.
There you go.
I think the point I'm hearing from Tamika is that people define words differently. We use labels and we need to be aware of how they're defining what we're saying.
Absolutely. When I travel the world, sometimes these things would have to change because they don't necessarily mean the same thing when you travel, right? But the principle is the same. Whatever word you want to attach to it is fine, as long as that works for you. But the principle is what I'm trying to get. So let's talk about some unsuccessful leadership styles.
Mika just brought it up.
boss.
The boss. Yeah, put that one on there. I'm the boss. All right. Anyone know what that's portraying? Lemmings.
Diving right off the.
Lemming leaders. No vision. No true path. Go running in towards the future. Usually towards the edge of a cliff. But you're on their team and you follow them. Off the cliff. I see plenty of lemming leaders out there that don't have a vision that they've shared with the team. They just want to get to some point to say they got it. Don't fall off the cliff with them. Humble. Just do it. Just do it, leaders. Anyone ever heard that?
Yes.
I'm the leader. I said so. Just
Get it
do
done.
it. The boss. Just do it. Nobody wants to be a just do it team because I said so. Who are you to tell me what to do? Who are you to tell me what to do? So just do it. Those just do it leaders, stay away from them. Put them with the crabs and the parrots. And just do it. What do you see there?
Nothing. Invisible leader.
Invisible leader. Claude Rain style leadership, the invisible man. Anyone ever had an invisible leader?
Yes.
Show up for showtime, they don't show up for setup.
There's a distinction between invisible leaders and absence of leadership.
True.
Which is this.
But invisible you can't see. Right? And oftentimes we put the I on the PDD, and the I becomes invisible. You see them.
Not in our district.
Don't be invisible. Be there for them. Let them see you. Let them know that you're there. Also, don't be absent. I agree with that. But they need to see you. They need to know that you're there for them. So that applies there.
They just push you away and say, I don't need you. I don't need you.
That's not a wise leader that does that unless,
We know.
Unless the leader before them is not a great leader. Right?
Well, you also have to watch about the protection of your team though, Richard.
Well, so I've seen leaders that don't want to give up the role.
Yeah.
You've been there. You've done it. Let somebody else take the role. And I've seen it where they just don't let go. We've got past presidents that are the same way. They haven't been presidents for years, decades, but they won't let go.
That's funny.
Got district directors the same way. Haven't been a district director since, the alt-4s. Still want to be the district director. Let somebody else do it.
And you're working at the behest of the district director, so you're helping. You're helping them, you're supposed to be helping them.
Well, there you go. You're supposed to be helping. Don't be the roadblock that they have to get out of the way.
Exactly. That's it, right here.
Know your role, as they say. Know your role. Be there to help, not hinder. Those are very unsuccessful leadership styles. And if you're seeing that in your leaders, bring it to their attention. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. What's going to happen? They're not going to invite you to their party.
I think it's part of leadership to have those tough conversations that don't feel comfy cozy. That's the role.
Yeah, and if you're not, I often challenge individuals who aren't willing to have that hard conversation with their leaders. Is it because, one, they don't trust their leader, because whatever they say is gonna come back and haunt them, there's gonna be some retaliatory piece in it. They're respecting the title, they respect the title,
higher rank.
they respect the title, they don't respect the person. You know what, I'd rather you respect the person than respect the title. Okay, the titles are gonna adjust, and people are gonna adjust, respect the person. If they're not doing the title right, that doesn't matter, because that's gonna reflect on the title. So make sure you're respecting the person. And you know what, if you have to have that hard conversation with them, have that hard conversation. That's the only way they're gonna learn. Otherwise, they're gonna think they're doing fine.
They don't.
I've never had a problem if somebody had a hard conversation with me. They might not like it at the time, but I expected it. I expected it. And I've had plenty of people challenge some of my decisions, just like.
I have a question.
You do?
I don't see Napoleon on your slides,
No.
and I don't see failing upwards, where people have not done the job, and instead of addressing it, they move them to the next role. They weren't a great area director. They weren't very popular. Let's make them a division director because we need somebody in that
We
spot.
need to fill a spot, right? We can't have a blank spot, we gotta
Yeah.
fill that spot. Yep.
We gotta put them in there.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that when you've got failing upwards going on?
Yeah, and I think we see that quite a bit. And you know what? A leader has to be willing to make a stand and do what's right. If you don't have a person to fill a role, don't fill the role just to put a person in the role. Don't do it. You're not doing them justice. You're not doing yourself justice. But we have this vision, right? As district leaders, we look at the district organization. It says, well, we have 32 areas, I have to have 32 area directors. I have 7 divisions, I have to have 7 division directors. There's a gap there. Oh no, I can't have that because it looks bad. No, it doesn't, it looks right. It looks right because you didn't have somebody qualified in that position. No, we're gonna shoehorn somebody in. We're gonna volunteer somebody into that position, and they're not gonna do well at it. Right? We're not gonna do well at it. And then guess what? We're never gonna get them in leadership again. Because we forced somebody into a slot. And we need, what we're doing now, we need as leaders to be able to say, you know what? I don't have somebody in that spot. I don't have somebody qualified. I don't have somebody who's willing to do it. I don't have somebody who wants to do it. I'm gonna let it be. I'm gonna let it be. And we do that at all aspects. I'm the club growth director. My natural flow is to be the PQD, then the DD, and then I'm gonna go on and on and on and on and on. There is no natural flow. Get over it. There is no natural flow. You run for a position, if you're not good at it, they're gonna let you know the next time. There should never be any uncontested positions in a district leadership. No, absolutely not. Find it very disheartening. And I'm sorry, I'm feeling a little passionate about it, but I find it very disheartening about this because that means that we are not living up to our principle of developing leaders. We're not. If we were developing them, there'd be a line of people standing. Your business meeting was very small. It was very small. Limited number of elections. I had a friend of mine who was chairing a business meeting over in India, and I don't mean to show by the discrepancy of North America and outside North America, but I do want to show this. They have 2 district directors, 5 PQDs, 7 CGDs, and 32 other officer positions being contested. They're developing leaders.
Yes, they are.
We're promoting people.
Yes, we are.
We're promoting people. You know? So we need to get beyond that. Go ahead.
You were talking about your ranking as district director, and still you move it up in the organization. However, I'm guessing that you did because of what you learned that you could do differently. how did that play out between you, your mentors, the people that were helping you develop yourself?
Interesting question that, how to play out with mentors. I was one of those leaders when I was coming up to the role, because of the leadership I had before me, didn't really realize that there were mentors out there, and tried to do it that way. I'm the leader, I was elected, I'm not gonna ask questions. And it bit me hard. It wasn't until after that that I realized you had to find your resources. And you had to find the right mentor. See, having a mentor just to have a mentor doesn't do anything. You have to have the right mentor. I tell people, if you come to me and say, listen, I'd like you to mentor me on how to be a world champion in public speaking, I'm gonna tell you to go away. Because I've never been a world champion in public speaking. You wanna come to me and say, hey, can you tell me about how to lead during turbulent times?
During a pandemic.
Yeah, I think I've got some skill in that, I might be able to help. But, you know, you gotta find the right mentor at the right time, but you have to be willing to take that out and ask. And I did. It wasn't until after that I realized the importance of mentoring. I found the right people to help me get through it. See, I'm not afraid to admit that I didn't do things the right way, I'm not. That's how I learned, and that's how I managed to make it the way I am. And I made it to the roles that I have, not because of me, but because of you. Because you all gave information, you all helped mentor me into it. And you say, well, I didn't mentor you, you don't even know who I am. Well, that's not true. I don't know who you are personally, but I do organizationally. And I see what members go through. So yes, absolutely you do.
There's a thing that I think needs to be realigned. When I was asked by my club to be president, I did not think I was ready, despite all my other previous experiences in other endeavors in another way. Because I didn't know a dang thing about Toastmasters. All I knew was like, yeah, I get to show up and talk and things and stuff like that. However, and I think it's a realignment because within my Toastmasters promises, there's a bullet that says, serve, be ready to serve or willing to serve when asked to do so. And so, dang, I made a commitment. I made a commitment. And if an individual finds themselves in that position, when they made a commitment, and they're asked by their club to become an officer, this is not a dig against anyone, I get itchy when I hear buzzwords, but I didn't see that as a time that I was being voluntold. I saw that as a time to grow.
There you go.
Whether I was ready for it or not.
There you go.
Funny story about how I became president of my club, and I was only in the club for about 6 months before I became president. Never leave the room during elections.
Yes.
Come back in and you're involved. Never do that. That's right, I admit I was ready, and you know, you stumble and you fall and you get up, and you wipe your knees off and go forward. I'm gonna go with Camilla and then I'm gonna go with this.
I just have one, kind of to what Lori was talking about. Because I think you can coach and you can mentor, but there's this elephant in the room, which this is unpaid, and this is a lot of hours unpaid. So how do you overcome that with somebody you're trying to coach or mentor? Because not everybody's in a financial position to spend 10, 15 hours a week unpaid.
Yeah, I agree. So I know you put your hand up, I'm assuming you want to respond to this.
Yeah.
Stephanie, can you want to go?
I'm always on a Toastmasters soapbox, so this will probably be my last stand with it. But what I'm going to say is this. What Richard, see, this is the reason why I am here in this organization. The reason why I am here is because you may not think you can do something, but you have a community of people that know that they see it in you and they know that you can do it. You don't have to have it. And we're here to support you through that entire journey. That's why we're here. Because whatever you put into this is what you will get out of it.
Yes.
And we will support you every step of the way. That's what makes it different than a leader who is in a job or a leader that is in a place of employment. Because they don't have to support you. They're paid. You do what I tell you to do, or you get out. We don't kick people out of Toastmasters. You leave when you're ready to leave. We are supporting you through whatever it is that you think you can or cannot do. When I started as a leader, I was talking to Cal. I was an area director. I was talking to my district director on the phone because he had a bad meeting. He had 2 people show up at his meeting. We talked to each other to just pump each other up. So he called me. And then he sent me the district success plan. I said, why are you sending me this? He said, so when you become district governor, you'll know what it looks like. And I laughed at him on the phone. I laughed at him. I had no intention. I went to my first conference and all these people were dressed up. I was like, I told my sister, if I come to a conference and I dress up like these people, you need to shoot me. This place has been home to me. It bothers me when we don't understand the value of what this organization can do for you as an individual person. Yes, you come in here and you cannot do things, but you have a family, a community of people that say, you know what, you can do this. I'll help you, I'll help you, I'll help you. You got the whisperer telling you every single time that you can do this. That's why we're here. This organization is different than anything you'll ever encounter in your life. That's why it is.
Amen.
Stephanie Scott, if you've never met her before.
I appreciate that, but like if you're an individual that's not able to spend $5 on gas, I mean, if you're struggling with just your basic needs, this idea of like growing a skill is gonna be a tough sell.
It's a time and a place.
Yeah.
You come in and you come out.
Not be able to.
It might not be the right time for you. People come into Toastmasters,
That's hard.
they leave, and they come back 10 years later.
Yeah.
This place is always here for you when you're ready for it.
May I?
So,
Is there a specific situation that she's referring to?
No, I just grew up in West Virginia, surrounded by poverty.
okay.
So it changed a lot of my mindset. But I've reached a point where like I'm now surrounded by not poverty, and I think sometimes people forget what it's like to not have food or water.
So
like it's all great.
But if I could recommend findhelp.org, if one of the 7 social determinants of health is missing from someone's life, go to findhelp.org. West Virginia, I'm not sure how many of you know, in the country is like 47, 48 in terms of age and wealth and health outcomes. So but I worked in West Virginia Medicaid and CHIP for almost 10 years. So like, I get what you're saying, and I get it's hard.
So we're going a little bit off. Jimmy, you want to respond? I know Russell had a couple things. Please.
So yes, it is expensive. In my first 7 years as a Toastmaster, I was on a stratospheric movement where I was every club officer, then area governor, division director. I went the first 6, 7 years until district director, and then my IPDD immediate past district director year. I'm like, oh, I'm tired. But when you look back and say, man, I spent so much money on this. So I work in a company, a manufacturing company that doesn't give me this community, this support. I found that I like marketing, public speaking. I like it. I learned to love it, and I'm good at it. but I didn't have that as an outlet in my job. I'm investing in myself, in my personal education. I'm not going to get my master's, at least not right now, or doctorate. I'm not gonna get that. That wasn't my path, and that's not what I wanted to spend my time in. But I can pay my $10 a month or $15 a month to get a Toastmasters membership. And if I can't afford it that week, I'm going to ride with somebody, I'm going to online meeting. So I made it a priority to invest in my personal development through Toastmasters because I saw the value. And so there's a self-taught aspect there and a discovery of what is available out there. And then you meet people at an event like this and you're like, oh, I like what that person's doing and I like what that person's saying, and you get their contact information and you start that conversation. Is how you develop your network. And I found it to be a successful way to develop your network and your professional contacts.
Thank you, Jim Russell. Lots to unpack, huh?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to make it concise. I wanted to answer a question. One of the things is that it's important for us to talk about the benefit of what you do. If you're going to be the club secretary or the PR person, what is the benefit to the individual? We talk about just filling a role. We need somebody to be such and such and such and so and so. The question is, how does that person benefit from that role? That's what's most important. When it's time to become area director, or you say governor, become area director, how does that individual benefit from that role? And does the benefit outweigh the cost of doing that job?
Yeah.
So that's a DG 1,000 years ago. Before the area governors came on, I sent them a postcard. I said, these are expectations for the area governor. Well, you have to do this, 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 and this. If you're willing, sign your name and send the postcard back to them. I got Patty, I got Kathy, I don't think anybody else here was working. But they knew ahead of time, and this is way back in conversation, everybody said something about expectations, okay? When you sit down and go through the expectations with what the person needs to do, they become shared because you're having a conversation back and forth. Then the conversations are not hard because the conversations are coming back to what we did is we set expectations. Difficulty, old HR guy, is when you have the performance review and nobody knows what the performance review is all about. But when you set expectations, and so the person starts to veer off, that's not a hard conversation because you and I have already discussed it. We've agreed that's what you're going to do. Now, this is a volunteer organization. You're allowed to say, I can't do this anymore, and it's okay. The tough thing sitting here talking about, listening about leadership, is that it's not just leadership, this is a volunteer organization. What happens when you're in an organization where you're in a hierarchical organization where you don't get to choose your people? Okay, that it's a different piece. The other part is that I think in setting expectations, that people that don't believe in your vision, first of all, the issue is there's only one vision. It's Toastmasters' vision. We don't have a vision. We can talk about themes and all that kind of stuff, but the fact is, if we are following the organization, whatever the organization's vision is our vision. And so I think someone said something about being able to contribute to that vision. That's a part of the expectations. So we're gonna set expectations, and your part of this is do X. Now, if that doesn't benefit you in a volunteer organization, I'll say it, nobody says, you don't need to be in this organization. Or any organization like that. When you see the vision of the organization, then you say, what is my contribution and what is my benefit? If it doesn't benefit you, you're not in the right place. Not many folks will tell you that. Same way, if you're on a volunteer team where Richard's the head dog, and he said, this is X, X, and X, and this is the way we're going. And you said, man, I don't know if I want to do that. You probably shouldn't be on this team. But this is a volunteer. It's different when you're in corporate. You're in the corporate, and they give you a team. And you really have to, it's a different process. But and I'll wrap it up. The idea is that when you think in terms of, as you move through the jobs Toastmasters, how do they benefit you? If that benefit exceeds the cost, then move forward. If it doesn't, then use Stephanie's plan. This may not be the time. And then you can do it later.
Or you say, I can't do 10 hours a week, I can do 4 or 5. Can anybody else in the club help me?
Yes.
Everybody wants to help, but nobody wants to commit to the 10 hours. So you get lots of volunteers that way.
So there was a key word that was going on here throughout the conversation, and it's team. Area directors can build a team. They don't have to do it all themselves. The vision directors build a team. They don't have to do it all themselves. Problem is we try to do everything by ourselves.
The sergeant at arms can have a team.
Yeah, it could be a team for everyone.
Yeah.
It could be a team for everyone.
matter what
So,
role it is.
so if you're overwhelmed because you've got too much on your plate, then think about, well, do I have a team that can support me? Because if you have 10 people on your team and they're all doing 1 hour, that's a lot better than one person doing 10. And you just have to identify what that team looks like. But, yeah, I don't want to see a leader suffer from burnout because they've been overwhelmed and they're doing, listen, my wife.
Right? Every spouse says, nope, not again.
My wife is a Toastmaster, and she was responsible for our conference program this year. 2 or 3 weeks in a row, she was up till 3 a.m. every morning working on that. And I was the one who was facing the brunt of it because nobody's responding to me, nobody's giving me what they want to do. And I'm like, how come I'm dealing with this? How come I'm dealing with this? Well, that's what happens. You start to get to that point where you're doing so much that it changes your personality, it changes your attitude because you feel like you've got no support, you got nobody else to do it. And that's when it becomes a negative feeling. So think about the teams. If you have help, ask for people. Hey, listen, I'm having trouble doing this.
Yeah.
Break it down.
But part of it, Richard, is that we silo ourselves also.
Absolutely.
We stay in our corner. We don't ask anybody but our club. We don't ask anybody but our division. When it used to irritate me when I was district governor, that we have an entire district. There's talent sitting all the way over in that corner that we don't know about because we haven't asked. You can't just isolate yourself. You have 1,000 people that you can ask.
Stay in your swim lane?
Yeah.
Stephanie, stay in your swim lane. You're the code of water director, stay there.
Yeah.
Well, there's that, but you have access to people.
Go ahead. And then I'd like to move on because I think we weren't supposed to be there as long as we are right now.
There's
a great conversation.
There's a lot of good stuff being said here. It's the pieces of the puzzle that makes up the picture. And one of the things I heard is Toastmasters International has a vision, Russell, and that's where we all need to be going. If we go back to our clubs, we got about 18 different speeches across 5 different levels. We can put this information in and say it to our members so they can hear it and keep on playing these records over and over so they can embrace the things that we know they need to hear.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is a great conversation this morning for a Sunday.
We are enjoying our Sunday, by the way.
Oh, good.
Yeah, this is for us enjoyment.
Good, excellent, I'm glad. Well, it doesn't really matter. I'm here as long as you guys need me to be. I might think about it more on the flight home, but so let's briefly talk about effective team building, because I think this is where leadership really needs to focus some of the time, is on building a team to help them do things properly. PQD team, what's that look like? CGD team, what's that look like? Area director team, what's that look like? You define it. But I want to give you some principles that will help you, in my opinion, build a strong team. So this is where I learned most of my recent leadership philosophy on team building. Some of you know, some of you heard the other day, I'm a professional licensed race car driver, that's me in my car.
Yeah.
I had to build a team that could support me. When I'm in that car strapped into that seat, I have no control over my team anymore. I have to trust that they can do what I need them to do when I'm not there overseeing them. That's the importance of building a strong team. They have to be able to do what you need them to do without you micromanaging them.
Yes.
Anyone like to be micromanaged? So you've got a whole room here of people that say, don't micromanage me. If you micromanage these leaders, they're gonna be out of here in no time. So I had to develop a team and put some thought behind what that looked like for me in order to be able to be safely in my car. And you identify the right people to put in the right role. So only 2 people that packed the parachute on that car. One is myself, the other is my wife. Because I trust her, and she always wants to make sure the life insurance is paid. But everything else mechanical and setups, I let other people do because they have talent for it. And that's the first thing, identify talent. Put people in positions where they can grow, push themselves a little bit, but not where they're going to fail. Because you put them in a spot that you know that it's not their wheelhouse. And we tend to do that I need a body in a position. And then they don't have a successful time, and we haven't identified the talent properly. The other thing is, we're too busy looking for skills. We're looking at individuals for their skills. I like to look at people for their passion. Because if I put somebody with a skill in a position, they have no passion for it. What do you think is going to happen?
Nothing.
Nothing. What do you think is going to happen to everybody who's on that team?
Nothing.
They're going to get infected by that lack of enthusiasm, that lack of passion. See, we all have the ability to train everything out there. We can train leadership skills. We can train strategic planning. We can visionary. We can, you know what you can't train? You can't train passion. Right?
You can sit next to Stephanie.
Yeah.
They'll understand passion for sure. You may not be able to teach it, but they'll understand it. So when you think about putting people in position, don't think about, oh, I gotta have this person because they've got the skills. Sometimes think about this person because, hey, they've got the passion. You think about people who say, oh, I really want to be involved with building the program because I really like doing marketing. I really have some great ideas. Yeah, but you've never done marketing before, and you've never learned a program before, so why would I put you in there? You know what, they want to be there. Put them there, they want to be there. Don't put somebody in there just because they've done it. Think about the right people for the right job at the right time. Build them up. And by the way, if they're passionate, and you put them in those positions, you help them gain skills, guess what happens? They learn and you develop a new leader. They gain skills and they like it. Right? And you continue to help them grow. Encourage people. Encourage people to do things. People won't necessarily volunteer for things unless you ask them. You need to ask people to do things. You need to encourage them. They may know they want to do it, but they may not know you want them to do it. Ask them, encourage them. Tell them they're doing a good job. Put them in the positions that they want to be in, not the positions that you want them. It's a different situation. Empower people to make decisions. When I'm in that car, I had to empower my team to make sure that they set everything up properly, that that engine is going to not blow up in my face, and that everything is there. Because there's nothing I can do about it after I'm down the track. Once I launch that car, I'm in their hands.
You're in a rocket.
Right? I had to empower them to make the right decisions. Empower people on your teams to make decisions. And if they get it wrong, don't discipline them for it. Talk to them about what could have been done differently. Look at it differently. Just because you think it's wrong, it might not be wrong. But empower them to make decisions. Give them that authority. You put them on a team for a reason. You didn't put them on a team to fill a spot. So empower them to make decisions. Recognize success. And recognize it publicly. Recognize it loudly. If I came up to Kathy on the side and said, Kathy, you did a great job. Who the hell knows? Does anyone else know that Kathy did a great job? No. Nobody knows that Kathy did a great job. But if I say, Kathy, you know what? I know you had a tough time, but you did a great job with this. Came out much better than I think even you thought it would. Public encouragement, public praise. On the other side of that, I'm not going to stand there and go, that's not what I would have done, you should have done it differently, and embarrass somebody and discipline them and all that. You got an issue with somebody, you take it private. Praise publicly, create quietly. Don't do it in public. As you heard yesterday, we all come in as a team, we come in as one. Don't gossip about the team. Gossip will tear it apart. And by the way, when you gossip, everybody hears it. There's a reason it's called gossip. Anyone ever played telephone?
Oh, yeah.
And it starts out as one conversation, ends up something totally different at the other end of it. What do you think happens with gossip? It starts you out one way, by the time it gets to the other end, it could be, oh, that history team had a disagreement, is how it started out. By the time it gets to the end, they hate each other, they're fighting. Gossip goes the same way. So don't do that. Keep all that stuff private amongst you. Work it out. Yes, sir.
There's another saying that if someone will gossip to you, they'll gossip about you. If they bring gossip to you and dumping it, then they'll be taking gossip about you outside as well. So don't accept it.
Gossip is gossip. Gossip is gossip. The other thing is, and this is a separate topic from this, confidentiality. I'm telling you this in confidence because the person who told me is confident. Something there just was wrong. What you're telling me is that you can't keep things either. Right? So, yeah.
We rep your security clearances.
Yeah. I was told this in confidence. Don't tell it. Keep it. Get rid of all that stuff. Doesn't help anybody. Doesn't help build a team. Doesn't help with leadership.
And we can help by refusing to hear the gossip.
You could, but doesn't mean you're going to stop talking.
No, but,
you have to
it helps them to be aware of it.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear it. And that becomes a bigger issue when someone's like that starting out in leadership, and then you want to go even farther into leadership. And you're like, wait a minute. I remember you were the one who was telling me confidential items back then, and now you would expect me to put you in a future leadership role where things are going to be confidential. Russell and Melissa left, but how about those confidentiality agreements we have to sign? I mean, we swear on a stack of everything that we're not going to discuss. I've been in leadership for 19 years. My wife still doesn't know what I've done in anything that I've been in, and she will tell you that. He's on the call. I have no idea what he's talking about. And follow those leadership principles that I provided earlier. Being before your team, beside, behind, some skin in the game. And making sure they believe in you, because once you have a team and all those philosophies fall into place, there's no stopping, there's no place you can't go. So let's do a quick recap. Be the leader who stands before others and leads the way. Be the leader who stands behind others and has their back. You can read these, I'm not going to read them for you. They're also on the deck you'll have access to. Passion, encourage, empower, and recognize. Follow those philosophies. I have no doubt you'll build great teams. You'll be the leaders that others want to follow and be as successful as you want to be. We spent plenty of time. This one you've heard multiple times over the weekend. I truly, truly believe this. I don't need to be in the spotlight. but I need to make things happen. You know, if you're in the spotlight, how do you make things happen? Spent a lot of time Q&A this morning, a lot of conversation, great conversation. I don't want to keep you any longer than you have to, but if there's anything you guys want to talk about, I'm in for a little bit. If not, we're good to go. Sharon.
You mentioned about delegating and allowing people to get things done. I want to acknowledge the conference team, especially Tammy and Autumn. We had some tight deadlines, real big challenges, but together I was able to let them run with their thoughts. We agreed on what the outcome should be. They ran with it, and things came out even better than I thought. When I look at our badges, Gary, do you want to look at your badge? When I look at our badges, Tammy and I we just spoke about the basics of what we wanted. We had a style that we began with, big names so people could see you quickly and so on. And I look at what came out. Tell me, what do you look at your badge? I didn't tell Tammy to do this. We just agreed that, this is a great idea, and we wanted to do it at the lab. So just hold it by the clip and the speaker, the Toastmaster. It came out so much more beautiful than I anticipated because I allowed her to use the gift and creativity that she has in her and the ideas. She may be new, 2 years in Toastmasters almost?
Year and a half.
But that didn't determine her skill set before she joined Toastmasters. So allowing her to run with her gifts, her talents, allowed us to have that great showing. The book, the same thing. I was able to guide, but I allowed them to run with what they had, the skills they had, and it turned out so beautiful. Even in Kathy and Stephanie and Jing, and they are, giving us ideas how this should go, how that, and things went so. And Patty, just rock star people, Kathy and Cosmas. I'm just so amazed that I allow them to lead and they led.
Yeah, you had an interesting statement about only being in Toastmasters for a year or two. Now, I tend not to put time on things, because I think time isn't as important as knowledge and talent is. Anyone seen a speaker come into their club that was a guest speaker, first time thinking about joining Toastmasters and knock a speech out of the park? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right? I didn't have a lot of time in Toastmasters, not right? It's a guest, right?
Right, so, he was a guest.
So you come in and knock it out of the park. So sometimes it's not just the time. With time you develop skills, but some people have skills that they bring right to the plate right away. And I would jump on that right away if somebody said, hey, I've got this skill, let me take it. I've been trying to develop skills for a long period of time. Didn't come with many, but developed them over time. But there are some people that come with talent like that. And my wife can see things that I could never see. She's a designer. She sees two-dimensional items in three-dimensional. I'm going, huh? just tell me what it's got to look like when it's done, okay? And I'll build it for you. Right? There are people who have talents. Find them. Identify them. Ask.
Recruit them.
Yeah, don't just say, I need you. That's the worst thing you can say is, I need you. Right. Because I need you. We need you because you can help us. Different approach. Say on. It's been a pleasure spending these last 3 days with you. It's not going away, you're It will be great to see how the team transitions, what new challenges you face. But I have no doubt, based on the individuals that I know within this district, they will continue to grow and be successful. You know why? Because they won't let it be unsuccessful no matter what.
Amen. Great.
I know that. Everyone has my contact number. For those of you who have been posting on LinkedIn already about District 13, if you haven't seen it, District 13 is in quite a different place on LinkedIn. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I am done.